Good morning, everybody. It's Thursday, April 30th. Hope everybody is doing well. Couple announcements today and just some stuff to plan ahead for next week as we get within, we start May tomorrow, so we have about 14 days to get prepared. So Friday, let's talk about tomorrow. Tomorrow we're meeting via Zoom at 9:30. You should have that invite already. We will be doing a question or two review, so I need people to be there and be prepared to go. And after that, after we do our couple questions, I will walk you through the next DBQ activity that we're going to be doing. It's going to be in period 2. And the primary task at hand is going to be doing, again, a thesis, grouping of your documents to fit into your argument, capping 2 of them, describing the rest, which is what the rubric calls for, and coming up with 2 pieces of outside information. So hopefully, if you've got your rescue packet ready to go, at least through period 2, or that, I'll give you a hint that sort of deals with the Enlightenment, sort of deals with the scientific revolution, more the scientific revolution, I should say, than the Enlightenment. And it goes back to the Reformation. So I'm hoping that you're at that point. You can practice utilizing, going back and looking at your notes like we would do on the 13th. So that's the idea. My hope is that everybody's here, that we do some review for 15 minutes or so, walk you through the DBQ, and then you sit down and write it. And I want it timed. I want to know the time that it's taking you, so we can adjust our schedule accordingly when we come to test day. And you submit. So I would hope that we could be done with this by 11 o'clock in the morning. That's my hope. If you can't be there for whatever reason, same rules apply as last week. I just want you to do it. But we can't push this off a whole lot longer. We're kind of up against it. So understand that so that's for Friday. For next week, I'm gonna add at least one more session, maybe 2, during the course of the week. We'll stick with our Monday, Wednesday, Friday 9:30 Zooms to review and do some other stuff. But I will say that there will be 2 practice full DBQs that are going to be required next week. They will probably be, to make it a little bit easier on you, they will probably be assigned through my AP Classroom. I will tell you what documents to eliminate that you don't have to do. You can type it right in there. And I can see a time report, and you can get a sense of the timing, because there's a timer on there. So that will be next week. The week of the test, we just have a couple days. I hope to utilize a program called Menti, which allows us to combine Zoom with you submitting some answers to some various questions. And it would be primarily brainstorming activities, maybe some thesis construction, maybe some ideas on context of a certain question, sort of practice stuff like that. What's kind of cool about it is that you can submit it, everybody sees it, but they don't see your name. So you can feel free to take a guess. And for some people, like let's say Joe Homa, if he wants to swear, I can take the filter off. So I'm just kidding, Joe. So that will be later next week, early next week. Let me see. I have to check my notes here. I'm sorry. So just short term, we're meeting tomorrow. We're going to do some 40 and 20 questions, and we're going to do a second DBQ. I will make some more announcements Friday. Regarding what you see here on the screen, there was a webinar last night regarding the test process. We are going to have to spend some time on this. I want to make sure that you're comfortable with it, that you don't sweat it. But there are a couple things that you can do that if you want to work ahead on this, that would be great. So just in general, 2 days before the test, so that Monday, you're going to get an e-ticket. And this is a bio e-ticket, and all you have to do is click and go to the exam. Now, they said if you don't get the e-ticket in your email, that ticket will be in your My AP Classroom account. So there's two places that you can find it, either in your email, the email that you gave them at the beginning of the year. Hopefully it's not your school email. Remember, they asked you not to do that. Or it will be in My AP Classroom. A couple things that we can take care of right away. I don't know if this was even allowed on Chromebooks, but if you have a Grammarly on your Chromebook, that needs to be disabled. And it's not because of a cheating issue or anything like that. It is because it screws up the program, the software. So if you have Grammarly on your Chromebook or the computer that you're using, that needs to be disabled. And somewhere in here, in this 51-page document, are the directions to do that if you don't know how to do that. The demo, the demo is open starting next Monday. I don't know what it looks like. It is not course specific, which is a little bit disappointing. I thought they would actually have a practice question, but in fact it's more of a demo to go through the login process, to go in through the security checks, to make sure that you get to the right page. It sounds pretty foolproof, but so that's why I want to practice. So I want to. The demo will be open Monday. I think at our meeting on Monday, I will, if it's there by 9:30, we'll take a look at that. And I basically going to require you. I don't know how I'm going to check this, but I want everybody to do the demo at least once, if not twice. When we get to the actual test itself, there's several options, and let me page through here. So the option that's most recommended, and I think makes most sense to me, but you guys know yourselves better than I do, would be to copy and paste a typed response. So one of the things they suggested is that as you see here on the screen, where my cursor is, if you can see that, where the yellow button is, that is the test prompt that you have open in one window, and then you have your Google Docs in another window. And they suggested doing it Google Docs, and you simply, when you get done, they also recommended the autosave feature, which I think is defaulted to that. Copy and then paste and then hit submit. Excuse me. You need to type your AP ID and initials in the top of your response. So your AP ID should be in your My AP account, and you know your initials. One of the key things, when the timer has 5 minutes remaining, copy and paste your response into the space indicated and then click submit. 5 minutes does not mean you have 5 more minutes of typing. 5 minutes means you have 5 minutes to get that response into their browser, to submit it to them. So when you see the 5 minutes, my recommendation is probably finish the sentence you're on and get it over there as quickly as you can. You'll already have had 45 minutes to write. So just understand that distinction. So when it starts flashing, submit now, you submit now. Okay, so I think that's probably the best way to go. I know a couple of you last week tried you can attach a document and then submit. That, I guess, works as well. I just think it's a sort of another step. But if you're thinking about doing it that way, just take a look at this. I'm recommending the first one. There were a couple of people who wanted to write theirs. Just understand that it's going to be, I guess you could do it on your Chromebook. I don't know. I just think this is an extra step that I don't want you to have to worry about. to me it seems clunky, but to you it may just seem second nature. So I really don't know what to tell you there. But we can talk about that. My recommendation would be to have two windows open, type on one, click and paste, or copy and paste and put it over there. We don't care about that. We don't care about that. We can talk about, this is what I want to focus on. So one of the things, and I had this up the other day, review your contact information, go into my AP, make sure everything's right. You know, if you change your email or something like that, or you misspelled their name back in September, just make sure you submit it and update it. Check your tech, that, you know, refers to the Grammarly thing. I'm assuming we have the latest browser on our Chromebooks. Again, if you're not using your Chromebook, if you're using your PC or your parents' laptop or your own laptop or something, just make sure you have the latest version of Chrome on there. They're recommending that. If you have something else like Firefox, just make sure it's updated. We will have, I will be reminding you about the demos next week, and we'll see how that goes. I need, you know, I'm totally in the dark on this, so I need you to practice this and bring issues to so everybody else can learn from it. Lastly, I'm running out of time here. If one thing they said, if you're doing the demo next week and you suddenly get like a blank screen, nothing happens, the very last page of this document, which again you have in general review material in Schoology, is sort of an FAQ or a troubleshooter thing of what you need to do to access this. And you can do the demo as many times as you want. So if you run into a problem, just make sure that you check this page. Any general problems, just contact me and I can help you with that too. So that's about all I have for today. There was one thing that I forgot, but oh, that was the other thing. You can print the documents, they said, which I thought was intriguing. So if you have a good printer that's nearby, if you can have mom and dad or your brother and sister run it to you, you know, I don't want you to waste time if your printer's slow to wait for the documents. But if you have a good printer, you know, the connections are all wired up well, you can print it off and look at it and annotate it and stuff like that. You can't annotate the documents electronically, but you can mark that up. So I thought that was a pretty good option as well, if it works for you. Again, a lot of this stuff is going to be tailored to your own unique technology abilities, for lack of a better word, or capabilities, I should say. And so you just have to be aware of that. But you can print the documents up if you want. But again, if it's going to take you 3 minutes to do it, no. If it takes you less than a minute, yeah, that's a pretty good option. But I wouldn't waste a lot of time running back and forth. You know, again, remember, for many of you, this is new. You know, you have to lay down the law with your parents and your brothers and sisters that this is your time. It needs to be quiet. People need to be off Netflix and not playing games, and, you know, close the door. This is, you know, this is showtime. And if your parents or anybody else have a problem with that, have them call me. I'll deal with them. But you need an hour and a half of quiet and concentration to do this. So, and you're going to do well. I know you're going to do well. Oh, I'm right up against the clock. So we'll see you tomorrow at, excuse me, see you tomorrow at 9:30. And if there's any questions, we'll bring it up there. Remember, we're doing a timed DBQ, partial DBQ, and we're doing some review tomorrow. Thanks.